Antinatalism and reality. 3. War. Ever since I can remember, from the time I was a little child, all of these men in suits meeting together in these offices, planning horrific, terrible, awful, destructive plans in the name of their gods, or because they believe that they're either going to kill everybody or be free. Or they do it because their God tells them to do it. Ever since I was a small child, there's been these groups of people with machines that are determined to annihilate one another over their ideas, or they believe that their God wants them to have a war. Now, I cannot protect myself as an individual. I do not have a helicopter that will fly me to a yacht that I can get out in the open sea and escape the radiation. I don't have knowledge of events that are happening that I can prepare myself ahead of time and escape from radioactive materials in the air. I mean, I could tape up all my windows and lock myself in my house with an air cleaner and water and hope that I'll have food, hope that I'll be able to survive. It's the aftermath. It's what happens as a result of war, what happens as a result. So much money and time and effort and pain and suffering and agonizing torment goes into creating weapons, goes into war, carrying out war campaigns. Carrying out war campaigns continuously, always having warfare, always having battles, always using resources for killing. And these wars that never end because one person's ideas or one person's God commands them to kill at all costs, reduce the enemy, obliterate the enemy. So human beings stop communicating. Human beings stop getting along. They stop practicing fair laws, and they stop respecting the ecology. And they're willing to gamble with other people's lives. They're willing to press a button, launch a missile. And as an individual, I have no way of defending myself against that. Why am I being dragged into that war? Why am I being forced to be fearful of an event that I have no control over? Why are others holding a sword over my head continuously for all of my life, where I have to worry about being irradiated during or after a nuclear war? I've lived in the shadow of the Cold War. I've lived as a child growing up amidst big, huge factories that produce weapons, being surrounded by all of these companies that build ships and missiles and craft and produce means of combat. So it has been it's unfair that I was having to pay my taxes and support wars that I don't believe in. I have to pay the government my money that I earn and that's used to create thermonuclear weapons. My hard-earned my hard-earned money that I earn at my job is taken away from me, and I'm forced to have to pay for the war efforts. And the young men that come back from these wars, they have to have medical care, they have to have psychological counseling, they have to have artificial limbs. And what is the cost of the war? Who is profiteering from the war? Men line their pockets and profit from weapons and combat artillery and all of the infrastructure that goes into maintaining combat and continuous occupations, transport and all of the logistics. It gets paid for, and I'm using my hard-earned money, and I'm paying for this. I'm supporting this, and the men and women that work behind the gated fences in these bunkers or on these ships, they have the keys. They have the capability of launching horrific destruction that would not only hurt and maim and destroy and kill many human beings, but also many animals. Cats and dogs and horses and birds and frogs and all kinds of living organisms would suffer, as well as humans. And this is what we create. We create these devices so that one day they will be used. One day some evil human will detonate one of these. It's just a matter of time, and then the clock is ticking, depending upon how well people get along and how well they have trade with each other and tourism and families that live and share their and travel and live in other countries where in countries get along, people get along with each other. They're able to work around their differences. They're able to be tolerant of their religious beliefs. Because otherwise, it's just the longer I live, it seems the closer and closer and closer and closer it gets to this. It's like it's eventually going to happen. As long as there are the weapons, the missiles, as long as there are nuclear missiles they're going to be used someday at some time in the future. So it's time to get rid of all the nuclear weapons. It's time to dismantle every nuclear weapon, reuse the fuel, use it in nuclear reactors to make power, electricity, use it for peaceful purposes. Anyhow, thanks for listening. Have a nice day.